Well, hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to this live today. And I'm just really excited to be introducing you to Angela here. We're going to get going here. I'll give it just a couple minutes and make sure everything is working properly. Let's see. I am not seeing it on my phone. So let's just make sure that it is working. This video is live now. Yep, there it is. Okay. So we're working. Awesome. I want to welcome, I see a couple people on. I can't necessarily see from here who's on and who's not, but I will tell you that we see 4 people on here right now. So I'm just really excited to share with you because, PTSD, I was a military guy, right? I was in the military for over 20 years. I fortunately never suffered with it or come across it, but we do have some police officers that are using it. And I'm just really excited. And we have some police officers that are using it as well and have noticed some tremendous effects. We had a whole group down in Houston, noticed a PTSD group down in Houston that had tremendous results with it as well. And so we're going to allow Angela to kind of share her story, bring a little light to how her experience with this whole issue of PTSD has been and what's kind of happened since. So allow me to introduce this lovely lady to you. She lives outside of Indianapolis. I've gotten to meet her a couple times now. She's married to her husband, Larry, and they got a beautiful son, Peyton. I got to ski with them as well. Man, that was a really good time when they were out here at Copper. She's a 22-year Army veteran. She was a master sergeant. And if you don't know anything about ranks in the military, master sergeant is a very high rank in the enlisted world. And she's a proven leader. And she knows how to take care of people, right? So she's got a servant's heart. It's very apparent just by her attaining that level in the Army. That's not just everybody gets to do that, right? In 22 years. And she spent time as a criminal analyst. She also spent time in the military police. And then right now, she's currently working as a lab tech at an elementary school. So Angela, say hi to everybody.
Hi, nice to see everyone.
How's the weather there in Indianapolis today?
Oh my gosh, today is beautiful. It's like 60 some degrees and just slight windy, but you could tell spring's on its way.
That's awesome. Yay. Yeah, we got some snow last night here in Keystone and got some good turns in this morning with some friends. We had just a ball out there. So yeah, I was mentioning that Angela and her husband and son, there's Peyton right there. They were out here about a month ago or so. And while we were sitting down and having this dinner, Angela shared a little bit about her story. So for everybody else, Angela, would you mind just sharing a little bit? What was your role in the military? What did you enjoy most about the military? Just give us a little bit of background so people can get to know you a little bit.
So I spent most of my career, and I say most of my career. So when I joined the military, I actually joined the National Guard. And within the National Guard, they have active duty programs, right? So it's kind of like regular Army, except you're working for the governor's militia, if that's what they want to call it. That word militia, people don't like it, but that's, so you're working actually for the governor. And so I work for a program called Counter Drug. And if you don't know, so drugs are on the list of terrorism nexus, across United States. So basically, I worked in a program and I worked with a lot of different federal law enforcement to help crack down on substance abuse, drugs and different stuff like that. And so that's what I did full time for most of my career. Most of it I was out at an agency working with the law enforcement, but then I spent the last 7 of it as a senior analyst supervising all the analysts across the state of Indiana. And then, of course, on my weekend roles, I was in a military police unit.
Okay. Wow. So what was the most exciting part of all that, being involved with that kind of activity? I mean, it's totally foreign to me. I've never been involved in law enforcement, never been involved with drugs. So what was that experience like for you?
It's amazing, being able to give back to your community. Not only are you serving the Army or serving the United States because you get a chance to deploy as well, but serving your community, serving where you're at, where you're from, those things like that is what's amazing. And I think that's what makes me want to give back today to the people here, is because it's my community. It's where I live. It's got the kids that where I'm going to grow up that maybe one day, you never know, are going to be taking care of me, you know.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And like I said, I mean, you truly do have a servant's heart. Having gotten to meet you a couple times, having a couple more and then a couple conversations with you, I really just get that feeling. You present that aura about you. It's a very pleasant and a very welcoming persona that you have, and what a blessing for other people to have you involved in their lives in any way. I think it's just absolutely wonderful. So tell the audience a little bit about how this issue with PTSD was created for you. Where did it come from? What was it like? And then we'll get into a little bit more detail on how you actually dealt with it.
Right. So, it's kind of weird. So if people know PTSD, sometimes PTSD doesn't always come out right away. A lot of times PTSD is a lot of trauma that is built up on a plate. If they say, your plate runneth over, you can only handle so much.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a strong woman, always been able to take on everybody else's problems, help solve everybody else's problems. And it was so, I struggled with a lot of things as a child, some things, some trauma that I had as a child, but, you just get past it and move on. And then, you join the military. And then even though, working in like the law enforcement world, sometimes you may hear or see things. Maybe you may not be completely there all the time, but you see and hear things, or maybe see pictures, or the different things that are going on in the world that not everybody knows, gets in your mind, gets in your brain. And then serving overseas, a lot of the things that I seen overseas, or maybe may have actually kind of did overseas, or see, I you don't want to bring all of it out here on this forum, because it can cause trauma for other people or bring
Right.
back things. So
When did
I also
this start showing up for you? Was it while you were in the military? Was it after? Was this something that you knew was happening right then?
no. So I was still in the military, but it was a good I say, let's see, I got back from Iraq in 2018. No, 2008, sorry. Peyton, hang on, sorry. Peyton, I'm on. So, I got back from Iraq in 2008. I got out of the military in 2018. So it was kind of around, let's see, 2015, 2016, maybe. I started, weirdest thing ever. My husband was in Germany, and it was about when the whole ISIS thing started kicking back up. And they were talking about ISIS coming across the border and killing military personnel, and, going to go in and, kill people's families, and, infiltrate the United States and stuff like that. I have no clue what caused it to trigger it, but it was just on the news so much every day, every day. And even at work, Fox News was on my TV. One night I came home and I went to bed and I started having nightmares that these guys would come in my house and they would be dressed in all black, almost like ninjas. And then they would take my kids and I couldn't find them. They spoke in, the whole foreign language and different things like that. And it was just horrible for me. I mean, that's probably the worst thing that could ever happen to me, is someone take my kids. And I couldn't get it out of my head, out of my mind. I just had to protect my kids, and I couldn't leave my house.
So deep-rooted fear came to light and was brought on by the series of events, to include the news broadcasts and stuff like that. Wow, man, that's pretty intense, Angela.
Right. I mean, it's just, it's, when you wake up, I mean, I wake up and I'm in a deep sweat, and I immediately wake my kids up, and I'm like, you need to go and you need to you're in the living room, right? And I made him sleep in the living room. And I went outside on the porch and sat there with the gun in my lap, um, protecting my family. I mean, like I said, my husband wasn't home. He was in Germany. Um, I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't let the kids go to school. It
Wow.
was a huge deal to me that, my kids were protected.
Now,
And
were you able to rationalize at all during this phase? I mean, to know that this probably isn't as bad as it is, or was it that real to you that you were like, no, I mean, what state of mind would you say that you were in?
in one part of my brain, I knew I was going crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, in one part of my brain, I was like, man, this is not like, look how big United States is. Look how big, if they're coming across the border, they're not coming right here, and I'm not on their list of names because, this name came out, this list of name comes out. But then on the other side of my brain, it was real. It was real. It was happening. Um, there was no turning back. It was something that was there.
Well, like a phobia,
Yeah.
and that's the reason I was asking, because I haven't experienced this. So I'm want to understand you. You're one of the first people I've really talked to in depth regarding this whole issue. But I always use, like
Mhm.
I used in my book as well, about the comparison of a fear of flying. That plane is probably going to rationally, that plane is going to fly from point A to point B and not have a
Mhm.
problem. But to step into that airplane physically, it becomes a very real fear, and there's nothing you can really do about it, right?
No.
So I'm going to bring up this slide real quick because we want to walk into a discussion on there are natural ways to help a person. I mean, obviously, psychiatric care or going to a psychologist, psychiatrist can definitely help, for sure. But there's also a chemical thing that's going on with the body and how the endocannabinoid system, we're going to talk about CBD, but how that all intertwines with the body and can actually help people with
Mhm.
PTSD. And we're going to get to your own personal story on that. And before we do, though, I wanted to bring this up. I just did a little bit of Google searching before we started this live. And this is from the National Library of Medicine. I thought it was a pretty good, it's a very short article, but the results here, that they had 11 patients, 91%. I mean, 91%, basically 10 out of 11 noticed a decrease in PTSD symptom severity as evidenced by a lower PCL-5 score. Who cares what that is? That just means that they were better, right? By a score of 28%. 30%, it was reduced. Their PTSD was reduced by being on this in just 8 weeks of a CBD protocol that they were utilizing. Now, what we're going to get into and what makes us a little bit different is we get even better absorption than whatever they were doing in that protocol. All right. So we just know that for a fact because of the technology behind our product. But before we get into that, Angela, why don't you share with everybody? What's your puppy's
So,
name?
so this is Zoe. This is actually my service dog.
Oh,
So
good.
I actually think she's sensing a little nervousness.
Yeah, could
So
be.
she is jumping up. So she smells and smells for senses. And so
Oh,
that's what she was doing. She was jumping up and smelling my face. So I'm sorry.
oh no, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And service dogs can be so beneficial, right? How
Yes.
did you come across? How did you become aware about CBD? How and why did you start taking? How did you find out about it? Just kind of give us a little bit of the backstory.
So, I was on, the psychiatrist and the doctors put me on medication, right? And I did not like it. Even in my counter drug world, after I'd come home from Iraq, I had actually dabbled in doing some um, substance abuse stuff for rehabilitation, for helping people get rehabilitated. And um, being on those narcotics was just not an option for me. It's not something that I was willing to do. In the beginning, I was willing to do it to calm myself because that rational fear of not being able to go anywhere. And, my husband coming home from Germany right away and, being able to go out with me and stuff really helped a lot. But um, I wanted something different that wasn't that narcotic, because you hear those people get on those narcotics and then it leads to other things. And then next thing you know, they're addicts, or, bad things are happening. Not, it doesn't mean it happens to everybody, but, some of those things that you're addicted to, and those things that they were putting me on was Clozapine, Xanax, um, different things like that. And I will tell you, Guy, there was a time that I was going to work, because I was still trying to work too, and I was driving and I didn't know where I was at.
Wow.
You get there and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? And where am I at? So I finally ended up medicaling out from the military and retiring.
So the
And
PTSD, this whole thing that you're having actually is what had you retire from the military?
yes, I medically retired from the military from PTSD.
Wow.
Yeah. They actually diagnosed me with 60% disabled in the beginning from my PTSD.
So you've got clinical study done on yourself that diagnosed you with PTSD.
Mhm.
This is not just somebody saying, oh, I had this trauma and I've got PTSD. You've actually been diagnosed, were diagnosed with PTSD. Wow.
Yep, the VA. The
Okay.
VA diagnosed me, and the VA gave me my rating. I mean, 60%, disability. Basically, the 60% is basically saying there's no way I could stay in the military because this trauma will just keep going. There was nothing that was helping me by staying in, even
Wow.
with all the medicines and stuff I tried. And
You're
I
going
told
through
you
these.
before, I tried 11 different antidepressants and anxiety medicines and stuff that were not narcotic based, because after those first initial ones, and after I went through that issue of I have no clue where I'm at, that was scary to me.
I'll bet.
Um, I'm done. I'm done.
So then how did you come across CBD or start trying the CBD route?
So I, I retired, and then I stayed at home for probably about 8 weeks. And I told my husband, I said, I have to do something. And so then I started going back to work, and I started working at the elementary school. At that time, I was a kindergarten aide, because I was like, kids aren't scary. They're fun. If anything, kids will help me out. They will make me laugh and joke. And I told you before too, I still had some pain on top of it. I have some injuries and stuff that was also ailing me, a lot of pain in my neck and from bulging discs and different stuff
Oh,
like that, and pinched nerves and degenerative disc disease. And I have 2 screws in both of my feet. And, gallbladder I had just had a gallbladder attack. So I had to have it removed, all those things
that's
kind of
painful.
build it up. Yeah. And so then I went to school and worked. And then I ran into someone, had no clue who it was, no clue. And he said to me, well, I guess I didn't. I knew of him. I talked to him a few times. He was the school resource officer at school, and his name was Billy, and he's with the company. And he said, I noticed that you were always in a lot of pain all the time. And really, at that time, I never smiled. You never really seen me smile, and I didn't talk to anybody unless it was work related. And I really wouldn't joke around unless it was the kids. I
Oh,
absolutely love those
I can't
kids.
even imagine you like that. I
Yeah.
just can't. Now, knowing you and not knowing you
Mhm.
then, wow, I mean, that's a major transformation in itself. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
And he said to me, if I gave you something to try, would you do me a favor? Would you try it? He goes, it may or may not work. I don't know. But he goes, would you try it? And next thing I know, I'm coming back to him. It was 20 minutes later, Guy. I'm coming back to him, and it's like, where can I get this? Like, I
Wow.
need it. Not only did it help me with my it helped relax me, but it helped with my pain. I don't know when the last time I was pain free.
Wow. So let me just for everybody's sake, because we have people on here that are going to be watching this, the replay as well. And I know we've got some people on here that are familiar with PTSD. I just got a text message from a dear friend of mine wanting to talk more about this as well once this is over with. One of the things that, if you're not familiar with CBD, first of all, CBD itself is not a drug. It doesn't get you high. It's not that. That's THC. And THC is what gives you the high, like if you smoke pot or something like that. What we're talking about is CBD. And just so everybody out there understands, your body has 34 CBD receptors on every one of your 40 trillion cells. So your body already naturally produces cannabinoids. And what the CBD does is it's supplementing that whole entire system. And that system is called the endocannabinoid system. And what science is now starting to prove is that it's the most important system in the entire human body. So if that system's out of whack, your body gets out of homeostasis and things show up. Now, PTSD being a trauma type of event, there's a lot more going on there. But so science still to this day doesn't truly understand how the CBD is interacting with the endocannabinoid system and PTSD, but they do know that it absolutely works, right? So you got started on a CBD product and you noticed almost instantaneous results. Not everybody's going to notice that, but you did, right?
Right. I noticed it because of my mood. I could feel, when I had seen Billy, I was holding my neck because I was getting 4 and 5 migraines a week, from the neck injuries. And so he was holding my neck, I was holding my neck, and from the rest of the day, even from playing with the kids at recess to getting down on the floor with kindergartners and getting back up. And I'm like, wait a minute here. And I'm also walking down the hall with a smile on my face.
Wow.
I had someone at work ask me, did I get some good news?
Yeah, well, you sure did, right? Billy came through for you.
Yes.
Awesome. So now you were taking CBD for a while before you were introduced to our company, CILI by Design.
Correct. Yes.
And how long were you taking the CBD products before you found CILI? How were you introduced to CILI? And then what happened after you started taking CILI?
Well, so I had probably been taking that for probably about 6 or 7 months prior to being introduced to CILI. And actually, so the same people that introduced me to the other product introduced me to CILI. I had kind of noticed a little bit with the other product that I was kind of having to take more and more to get the same results, but I still wasn't completely free, if that makes sense. Like not only did I have to take CBD, I had to take a CBG, I had to take a curcumin product, I had to take, all these different things, to get what I needed to help me be at balance, me. And so
you created your own cocktail.
Yes, basically. Yeah. So I bought this and bought this and bought this and bought this, and to create my own cocktail just to, to go on. So I didn't have to take all those medicines. And I don't know if I mentioned this, I was on 12 different prescriptions before CBD. And I am now down to, I normally tell people 2 because the other one doesn't count. The other one's my daily allergy pill. Okay. It's just a Zyrtec. But my other one is my Lexapro, and the only reason why I'm still on it is because I'm working with my psychologist to down the dose.
Gotcha.
And because you can't just go completely off of it.
Correct.
And then
so you got introduced to CILI,
CILI, yes,
main flagship. Oh my gosh, I don't even have a bottle here. You got a bottle by your desk?
Yeah, yes, I do. Hang on, let me grab it.
And while she's doing that, let me just bring you this up. This is the ingredient list. She was talking about creating her own cocktail. Well, that's basically what we have already done. This company has already done. So Angela's holding up the bottle of Swish right now. It's 6.5 ounces, 39 servings, over a month's supply. But this is everything that it's in. It's got a complete mineral blend, a glycobiological blend, mitochondrial blend. It's also got the CBD and CBG. In fact, we were the first company in the world to offer a 50-50 blend of that. And then we have adaptogens, nootropics. It's just a complete wellness blend. The ashwagandha, the curcumin is in there as well that Angela mentioned. So, I mean, this is more than just a CBD and CBG product. So, Angela, start why don't you share a little bit what happened and what you noticed different when you started taking Swish?
So basically I was introduced, I don't know how they ran across the product or whatever, but they ran across the product, and basically I was like, let me see that, basically I want to try it, blah, blah, blah. And so I tried it and I took it and I thought, wait a minute, do I feel really better than what I did before? Like, not only was I feeling better, I actually got back to myself. I was smiling more with the other product, but now I feel like I am who I am. You know, I found out that, wait a minute, I can have a life again. I can go out and have a good time with my kids. I can laugh. I joined the book club, you know, I could go out with the girls at work to chips and salsa night. There's
And
things that
these
I
were
haven't
things you
done.
weren't doing. These were things you weren't doing even when you were on the other CBD product, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. And just amazing, amazing differences. Um, I mean, I can't imagine my life without it now.
Wow. I've mentioned a couple times on this, on my lives and on my Facebook posts that I'm reading this book. It's called Behave. It's 777 pages long. It's a New York Times best-selling book. It's all about the chemistry, biology, neurology of the brain. But what I'm really
Mhm.
learning from reading this book is how important the nutrition is for the brain. And because our product has these particles, all the nutrients that are in there, nanosized so small, the nutrition is actually getting to the brain for people that are actually using this product on a
Mhm.
daily basis. And it just has me wonder, what have we really stumbled upon with this Swish? How could it help a vast amount of people that are dealing with challenges, mental challenges of the like, depression. We know that it helps. I can't tell you, I've had a couple people that were bedridden, and after a week of being on Swish, all of a sudden sprung out of bed, started working out, and just living a full life again, much
Mhm.
like what you're explaining. And it just blows my mind.
Yes. I mean, I like it so much. I had my whole family takes it now. Um, to my
They know.
dad, I mean, I had my dad take it because I'm like, look, you need on this. My dad was forgetting a lot of stuff. He's older and he's starting to forget things. And my dad loves the boost, the energy he gets from the boost spray. And he's told me he will not, he goes, sis, I will not go another day without this. I
Wow.
love this stuff. And like I said, it's changed my life.
How about does Peyton or Larry, do they have a testimony, or any others from your customers and other members that you might want to share?
Well, not not just with Peyton. You don't get to see Jackson much because he's older. But my oldest Jackson, he's on the spectrum with autism,
Okay.
and he takes it every day, and it really helps him. He's gotten a job. His grades are better. He's making friends. He was a huge introvert,
Wow.
and people love it. And I have some customers that are kind of the same way. I have one customer, not to mention any names, but she has gone through some trauma, and kind of a little bit of an introvert, and she told her mom that there's no way I'm going to go on without this. I have to have this every day because it makes me feel better, that, and with the serenity. And oh, my husband quit smoking. Can you believe that? I mean, it was one of those things that I I asked him. He had quit for 3 weeks before I had noticed it because I was this big thing. Like when we first got together, I was like, "Look, I'm not going to date a smoker." And then he went to Germany, started smoking again, and then I'm sure my fiasco with what was going on with me caused him
Yes.
to smoke even more. Because not only was he dealing with my kids, he had to deal with me too.
Yeah.
And then so one day my husband was, I'm like, you haven't gone outside to smoke. And he goes, okay, Miss Obvious, I haven't smoked in 3 weeks. And I go, what made you quit smoking? And he goes, I don't know. I just hadn't had an urge. And he had been on Swish for 4 weeks. And I, I think it was Swish.
Wow.
I
That's
mean, we can't prove it, but
right. And I should throw this into just to clarify, we're not making any medical or healthcare claims, and that the CILI by
Mhm.
design products are not designed to treat, cure, mitigate, or reduce any sort of illness or disease, so or diagnose. So, but that's amazing. And you mentioned autism. I know we've had a 4-year-old boy that was able to get off of his, not we, a customer of ours
Mhm.
had a 4-year-old boy that was able to get off of his completely off of his autistic medications. There was another one you mentioned in there too, not just with Jackson, but there was another little testimony you slipped in there. And it's not just one or two people. I mean, this is pretty much across the board. People
Yep.
notice some sort of positive benefit. So to summarize and close this out, why don't you just kind of take us on a journey real quick, a summation of your life before and after with the CBD and the CILI Swish. Just kind of summarize what your life was like before, what happened while you were taking it, what you noticed different, and how your life is today.
Like I said, before it was almost like I was crippled, mentally crippled. You know, your mind's in a fog. You don't really know who you are. You don't know where you're at, and you don't know who's coming after you. That's just how it is. And you can't see this far in front of your face. You know, that's way I was right before, right after right after the PTSD issues. Um, During Swish, as I started taking Swish, it was small little subtle things, that I noticed. It was oh my gosh, my pain's starting to go away. Oh my gosh, I got to smile. Now I have a social life. I have friends. I have a job that I love. I go on vacations with my family. Things that once I started having my PTSD and just so you know, the PTSD just wasn't a weekend thing. It took me 2 years to get through most of my two whole years of not wanting to leave the house and different things like that. Um,
Um,
so, and I know there's people that suffer longer. Um, like I said, my husband made me call the doctor, and yeah, PTSD is a real thing, but CBD is even real too.
there you go. That's right.
Mhm.
How long have you been on the CBD and CILI Swish combined? How long has it been? Has it been 3 years then?
So
Years?
let's see. No, it hadn't been 3 years. So I retired in 2018 when my mom passed away of cancer, and when I after all that stuff came back, it was probably right at the beginning of 19. It was before. It was. I think it was before um, COVID.
Okay. And you said you were on the other product for about 6 months. So you've been on, I don't know, about a year and a half or so with the Swish.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
My time my time flies now. It's like
Well,
okay, slow down.
my point in bringing that up is I just was texting with another customer today, and the body has got to adjust. And the
Mhm.
longer you're on even our product, Swish, the better your body is going to start responding over time. I mean, somebody may take this and they may have really rapid results, or it may take them a while,
Mhm.
3 months, 6 months. But the longer that you're on the product, the benefits, I would say, just continuously get better and better. Has that been your experience?
Oh yeah. Yes, and it continues to help different things too. I told you when I was out there I found out I had a sliding hiatal hernia,
Right.
and come to find out, because I had some inflammation, I just started taking my Swish twice. Um and then I would take, and this may sound weird, I would take the trim spray. because it has the peppermint in it.
Uh-huh.
And, all my symptoms and stuff have gone away, and I'm back down to 1.
Really?
Mhm.
How
I'm back down
fantastic.
to 1. So I just think I had, like, an inflammation thing down there was causing it, and the doctor said it was probably some kind of spicy food or something.
Well, I am very, very happy for you on that. Do you have a, if you're a friend of Angela and you're seeing this from Angela's sending it out to you, the recording or whatever, please get in touch with Angela and get on this Swish product immediately for yourself. And if you're friends with me, I'd encourage you to contact me so that we can get you on this Swish product immediately and you can feel the
Right.
results as well. But Angela, any parting words that you would words of encouragement?
What I do wanna say, though, because, going through this transition, I don't know how I told you. Remember I told you, like, now that I am who I am now, I'm going back to trying to figure out who I am, right? Who I am
Right?
now. Your book has
Oh,
helped me so much. I mean, I think when I'm done with this, Imma have to read it a couple more times.
oh, thank you. I'm
And
happy that it did. I really am.
if any of my military friends are stuck in not knowing who you are since the military, guys, retired military, you need to read this, The Authentic Truth.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Oh,
that, Angela.
you're
So
welcome.
wonderful. And thank you for coming on and sharing with complete strangers your story. And maybe, hopefully, it'll touch at least one, maybe more. If you are watching this and you know anybody that is suffering with this, get them on the Swish ASAP. Either contact Angela, myself. The most important thing is that they get on this product and start feeling the difference for themselves. So I want to bid you all farewell. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you again, Angela.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.